Okay, what's going on there? Is that me? Hang on. Oh, that is me. Hang on. Had a double thing. Okay, all right, run it back from the top here. Okay. All right, here we go. Salute to Knicks Nation on this Monday evening. Another KFTV and Bleacher Report simulcast. CP the franchise, fan favorite of the show, our guy John Schmelk is in the building. Today's show, hey, this is just going to be a temperature check, man. After the Knicks debacle against the Boston Celtics on Saturday night, we're going to talk about these Knicks and in particular their struggles against the NBA's elite. We do have some injury updates. Tom Thibodeau talking about Mitchell Robinson and OG Anunoby. We'll talk about their upcoming return and what that'll mean for the squad. And we'll put the bow on the Super Bowl. Saquon got it done. Sticks another knife a little bit deeper in the backs of the Giants and their faithful. But hey, we'll recap the Super Bowl, man, and get a little preview for the Giants offseason as well, man. So lock in, hit the like button, hit the share button, and subscribe to the channel. So to everybody in the chat, man, here we go. All right, John, how we feeling, man? Happy Monday, man.
DP, what's up, bro? How you doing, man?
Hey, you know what? We'll get to Super Bowl stuff later, but I'm all right, man. You know, yesterday was a little tough to watch, a little bit. Probably,
yeah, it was.
Yeah, but you know what? It was one of those things where it's like you get the pain out of the way quickly, and that's what it was for me. So, you know, we'll put the bow on that afterwards. But either way, man, a good Monday despite a rough weekend. And on the orange and blue, man, like I said, a debacle against the Celtics where they just got the doors blown off. Were you at the game? Because you have tickets. Yeah, were you there?
Yeah, no, I did not go Saturday night. I was away at like Shrine Bowl and Senior Bowl for a week, and the wife was not gonna be having me go to Knicks game the week after I got back. That was not gonna happen.
Yeah, catch up.
Especially since I was going out the day after to watch the Super Bowl. So
sure.
I had to pick and choose, bro.
Yeah. No, we know how it is, man. We know the pain, man. What did you make of the game, man? What'd you make of it?
Look, I'm always a big picture guy, CP. It's an 82 game regular season. And look, when you do post games, the guys at Knicks Films will do post games, right? Like you guys have to react after every game. Fans react after every game. But I like to take a bigger picture of this, right? And I've been kind of find it funny that fans keep saying Knicks can't beat good teams when they beat the second, third, and fourth teams in the West like the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
In Memphis, Houston, and Denver. So they can beat good teams. They just apparently can't beat the good teams that fans want them to beat. Right. Which is Oklahoma City, Boston, and again, Cleveland. I don't think we have a feel for that yet, considering how long ago they played those guys in. I'm even going to throw out that first Boston game. That's the first game this Knicks team was together, new roster and all that stuff. So I'm not going to lose my mind over that. But I will say this in general. Both teams are missing a couple players. They're going to play again in a couple weeks. So I think we'll get a better feel for what that's really going to look like. But to me, what this comes down to is that the Knicks' best players have to play better, right? And I know some people have taken a lot of shots at Mikal Bridges. That, to me, is poorly as he shot in the first half, and we haven't seen much of that. His defense on Tatum, even though Tatum scored 40, I thought it was fine.
Yeah.
Like, I thought Tatum had tough shots. I didn't think Tatum was toasting them. There's a reason, Knicks fans out there, that teams continue to screen Bridges. It's so that he's not guarding their best players. They want to get Brunson on him. They want to get Towns on him in a pick and roll. So that to me wasn't the problem. But the problem is, in a lot of ways, CP, Karl Anthony Towns. And I think there's two parts of this. The defense we all knew was going to be a problem. And we talked about this. We've been doing this together for 5, 6, 7 years now. And neither one of us, I think, were really in favor of making a deal for Towns because both of us were worried about whether or not you can win at a high level against really good teams when your center can't defend, right?
Right.
That was always an issue we had. It was always a worry for us. And I think that's the big picture problem the Knicks are still having. Throwing Brunson, your best player, also not a good defender just because of his physical limitations.
Right.
That's the structural problems the Knicks are going to have trouble overcoming. Now, that doesn't mean the Towns trade this summer was a bad one because they only traded Randall, DiVincenzo, and one pick. So it's not like they traded. That wasn't the 5 first-round draft pick trade. That was the second trade. We didn't give up as much as maybe we thought we would have to. But that's something they have to figure out. And the problem, I think, in the game against the Celtics specifically, and we've seen this in other games too, if Towns is going to be targeted defensively and he's going to struggle on that end, which, again, we all expected, he's got to dominate on offense. Right? If teams are going to switch against the Knicks, the only way, and I cannot stress this enough, the only way the Knicks are going to beat teams that switch against them is for Towns to punish Smalls in the post. It's the only way it's going to work. Otherwise, teams are going to put wings on Towns. They're going to switch on to Brunson. And Towns is going to have to go one-on-one against a 6'7" or 6'8" player, and he's going to have to beat that player. Whether it's Jalen Williams from the Oklahoma City Thunder, whether it's Jason Tatum, whether it's Jalen Williams, take Jaylen Brown, take your pick.
Hey, maybe it's Drew Holiday when they see them on the 23rd. It might be Drew Holiday.
Right, exactly. He's got to be able to punish those guys. And we saw last 2 years, when Holiday would get on Julius, when Randall was here in those switches, he struggled to punish him. But Towns is supposed to be a top 3 offensive center. After Porzingis, or after Jokic, he's supposed to be the next best offensive center in the league. Well, you're that guy, and they're going to put a 6'7" wing on you. Abuse him, all right?
Yeah.
Like, you have to do that. If you cannot do that, your bad defense is going to be what kills this team's chances of winning a title. So we expected the poor defense from Towns, but, dude, he's got to be able to punish these wings in the post if teams are going to switch on the Knicks, and that's what the good teams do if the Knicks want to have a chance to beat some of these elite teams.
It just compounds the issues, man. It really does. I mean, 9 points on 8 shots in that game. He was questionable in the game with the knee, which is another big concern for me. Because it's like
popping up.
It keeps popping up. You leave the Raptors game, you get 3 days rest, and you come out of it even worse. So I'm like, man, if it was that bad, because he looked like a statue out there, John.
Dude, he couldn't jump for rebounds.
So I'm like, man, if it's that bad, I know we're severely depleted. There's no Sims, but it was almost like, not almost, he was hurting them out there.
I agree with you, but, and I think the thumb is affecting his three-point shooting. I think that's real, too. I'm not going to argue with that.
Yeah.
But to me, neither of those issues, because we've seen the post problems in games past, so I can't put that CP on the knee injury. That, to me, is something he just needs to get better at. And he has moves down there. He has a jump hook. He has a little quick baseline spin for a dunk or a layup. Like, he's got the footwork. He's got the touch to be a better post player. Early in his career, he was a post player. This is something he has shown he's able to do. So, yes, I agree. The tendinopathy, I believe that is the term they keep using, which is called jumper's knee. It's something you get in basketball. It's basically inflammation of the tendon, which is what they've been trying to manage all year. Look, that's a problem. That's got to get better. Maybe the All-Star break helps that, though. He's going to be there playing, so maybe not. But, look, he's supposed to be a great offensive player. He's the Knicks' second-best player. And against these really good teams that have switched wings onto him, he has not looked like that guy. Like, against good defenses, this whole try to dribble drive from 25 feet away, that ain't going to work. Man.
I hate it.
That ain't going to work.
I hate
it. Like we saw with Randall, that does not work. A big dribbling in slow motion from 25 feet away, these teams that play good defense, the help is going to get there. He can yell, scream, and wave his arms around all he wants. He ain't getting those foul calls. He hasn't gotten it from the first game of the year.
Right.
So he's going to have to figure out a different way to score besides hitting threes, because against good defenses, that 7-footer driving from 24 feet away, that's not going to work. Period. Stop. Like, no questions about it.
And all it's doing, it's just building up more and more film, more and more tape for the playoffs. It's just building up more and more tape. And if he can't dominate those matchups, they're going to be in trouble. Doesn't matter who comes back or how the team looks when they come back. I'm pretty confident, based on the 2-year sample size, Brunson will be there. He will deliver, but he can't do it all by himself. Towns has to be that second guy. And these were the type of things, the issues, the concerns that I had when they did trade. It wasn't to say that I necessarily absolutely wanted to keep Julius here. It was, right. I labeled it a question mark for a question mark, because if he can't dominate those matchups and he's going to be terrible on the defensive end, then I don't see major impact here when it comes to big money moments.
I'm with you. And look, I'm going to say a couple other things too. A lot of fans want to blame Thibodeau for this. Oh, he started Precious. He made all the wrong decisions. Look, was Tom Thibodeau perfect? No. He made his mistakes. Precious and Towns, I don't love it. And I hate to tell folks, offensively, that's going to be what Towns and Mitch Robinson looks like too.
Right.
When Mitch gets back. It's
right.
going to be the same problem.
With Hart out there, with Hart.
Right. I mean, you're going to have guys that you're not going to have to cover. And could Deuce going in for Hart make a small impact on that? Maybe. But is his improvement in terms of being a shooter going to counteract what you lose in Hart's hustle, defense, and rebounding?
Yeah.
I don't think so. And CP, by the way, if teams are just going to switch everything, McBride's never going to be open for a 3-point shot anyway.
Right.
Because they're not going to leave him because they're just switching and making Towns go one-on-one. And Towns, by the way, good passer out of the high post, good handoff guy at the top of the key like Hartenstein. He's a bad passer out of the post. Like, those are two different skills. He needs to become a better passer out of the post when those double teams come against him, too. That's another factor here that I think we have to talk about. But for me, the structural problem, like I said, is Towns' defense, right? Like, how is Tom Thibodeau supposed to fix that? How many coaches has Karl-Anthony Towns gone through? He's just not a good defender. He doesn't move laterally well enough. He doesn't to switch. He doesn't jump high enough to be a good rim protector. He's sloppy with his technique, and he fouls too much, not getting his hands up. I mean, we've seen that a bajillion
Discipline,
times,
yeah.
right?
No discipline.
No discipline. So I don't know what Tom Thibodeau is supposed to do about that. What's the solution? If your center can't rim protect, he can't switch, he can't do any of those things, play drop coverage, how are you supposed to utilize him? Teams are not stupid. They're just going to attack him. I'm not sure what Tom Thibodeau is supposed to do in mitigating what right now, and Brunson's defense is another thing which you can't mitigate. It just is what it is. You can't bench him. It is what it is. What is Tom Thibodeau supposed to do about those two structural issues? I don't have the answer to that, and I don't think anyone else does either, to be honest with you.
I don't think so. And that's what I was arguing with the fans on Saturday night, where it's like, because obviously if Towns is out there, you desperately need his offense against a Celtics team that has so much firepower. They got outscored by 30 from downtown. Just swapping him out and putting Huck Porty in is not going to help the loss of offense. You already don't have OG, right? Like, you're already struggling there, so you need him out there offensively. Mazzulla went out there. He gave Luke Cornett a literally last second start when he sat Porzingis. So now they got two bigs out there. And, the Precious Towns thing, obviously Tibbs was trying to counter to help on the boards. Didn't work because they were outworked on the boards by like 18 points. But, even the small ball lineup, to get McBride out there, get more shooting and enhance the spacing a little bit, it worked okay in the third quarter. And then Tatum and those guys go on a 19-0 run right after that.
Yeah, look, Jason Tatum's Jason Tatum. Like, he got hot. There's nothing you can do about that. Again, I thought Bridges played fine defense on him.
Yeah.
He like that sidestep three from 29
it was ridiculous. It was right
feet.
from where Tibbs was standing. It was right by the coach's seat.
And then he hit another three literally from like the edge of the half court logo.
Yeah.
So, and by the way, I thought Brunson, he made Jaylen Brown make 14-foot fadeaways.
I like Brunson's defense Saturday night. I thought it was good.
I'll take that. You can't ask for more than that from Jalen Brunson. That's fine. But look, I mean, Luke Cornett was a better player than Karl-Anthony Towns on Saturday night. Like, you can't have that. You can't have that. And could it help moving him to power forward? Sure. Did we watch the Timberwolves in the playoffs last year? There are problems with that too, with spacing. If you don't think Jalen Brunson is going to be completely limited as a penetrator and a disher because Mitchell Robinson's out there at center, you're not paying attention, because that's exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Like, Brunson's room and space is going to be gone. It's going to be absolutely gone. And look, could Deuce help? Sure, that's great, but there's no easy answer here, which I think, again, not to say that was the wrong trade for Towns in the offseason, because frankly, I mean, they weren't going to get a better player than for Julius Randle.
Not for Julius, no.
And Julius is a free agent this offseason. So they were in a time crunch. They had to make the move when they made it. That was the best they could do. Are they feeling the DiVincenzo loss? Maybe a little bit. Is that the reason they've lost these games to these really good teams? CP, I don't think so. Do you think DiVincenzo's absence is why they're losing to these really good teams? I don't think that's the reason.
No, not necessarily. But I think in tandem, like DiVincenzo and the iHeart loss, the iHeart loss was tremendous, man. And when he left, and I was lamenting about it, I was tight the whole time. People were like, man, what do you see? This guy's you acting like this guy's the second coming of Will Chamberlain. I was like, you got to watch his impact on this team night in and night out. They're going to miss that severely. And then when they lose these games, these guys are, the reaction's like, they don't have grit. They don't have the energy. Well, he's in OKC right now.
When you have a two-way player that can help you on both ends and not hurt you on either end, it's a huge loss. And look, that's what's killer about this. There's no one to blame for that. Like, there's nothing the Knicks could have done. Maybe they could have convinced him to take a 3-year deal when they signed him, then a 2-year deal, but I don't think Hartenstein was going to do that. So there's nothing they could have done about that. So they had to pivot. And if you don't make the Towns trade and Mitchell Robinson is hurt, what does that center position look like this year? They're probably like the 6th or 7th seed if they don't. As much as we're complaining about Towns, his impact over the course of the year against teams that aren't as good as these teams, CP, is still monumental. Like, he's been the second best player, and he's the second most important player on this team, which is why I think we're holding him to such a high standard, right? Because we understand that they need him to be great. Now, again, getting back to Thibodeau real quick, do I think he makes a mistake of subbing out Brunson and Mikal Bridges at the same time? Yeah, it's stupid. Like, one of those guys should be on the floor at all times, especially if Anunoby's out. You have to. So could that be better? Sure. Is it going to matter if Towns plays that way? Probably not.
No, it's not going to matter, man. But, you know, that's why, like, as you say, I'm a big picture guy as well. But then in the micro, when you look at these games and these blowouts against OKC, blowout against Boston twice, it's like, man, like, we're just not there. We're just not on the level. There's a clear separation and tier, but in these games, we're just not even competitive. That's the challenge.
Yeah, and I think the struggle for me too, CP, is that this team has been so good offensively this year. The Knicks had like 93 points with 3 minutes to go in that game. So we can complain about Anthony Towns' defense and, you know, all that stuff. You got to score points in this league, man. Like, offense is the most important thing you could do. Does defense in the end, you know, flip in the playoffs and become more important? Sure, but, you know, you're just trying to get a seed at this point. So against a team like the Celtics, if you don't score 120, ain't winning. Like, that's just the way Boston plays. So you need Towns out there. It's not that you can, and that's why people are like, oh, when Mitch comes back, you start Mitch, you put Towns at the 4, you're going to be fine. That's going to kill your offense. It's going to kill your offense. It takes out the spacing, which has opened up all those backdoor cuts for Bridges, opened up those backdoor cuts for Anunoby, opened up the driving lanes just for Josh Hart, opened up the lane for Jalen Brunson. If you put Mitch in there with Anthony Towns, that disappears.
Yeah, which is why they went to go get Towns, right? So, to open things up. So there's a trade-off, and it's going to be very interesting to see how they navigate this thing going forward. But I just feel like it's going to put even more emphasis on elite shot making. And as I said, Brunson can get it, but Mikal Bridges has to do it as well, man. He has to do it. You can't come in here with like 13, 15 points. Like, no, you've got to be aggressive because teams are going to be forcing them to take those tough shots, especially in the half court in the playoffs.
Yeah, and look, I think his strength in the mid-range is actually going to help in those situations because teams don't give up as many open shots. So you need guys to make mid-range shots. And look, he was just off in the first half of the game against Boston. And that's been rare. He's been pretty consistent. His three-point shot has been up and down. But in terms of his mid-range stuff, that's been pretty consistent all year. So I'm not going to lose my mind over that. But I would like to see him be more physical, and that's on both ends, CP. He plays a finesse game. Like, I like to see him draw some more fouls going to the basket. He's got a good drive game, got a good Euro step. He's got long arms. Use him. Draw some contact. Yeah. Even on defense, you know, they're allowing more. It's almost like Bridges is trying to play defense like it was 4 years ago, where you cannot make any contact with the driving player. Like, they're allowing teams to be a little more physical now. Get up in these guys' airspace a little bit. Be a little bit more physical. Utilize that length a little bit more. I'm a huge Bridges guy. I think it was the right move. It was the right trade. I remember a podcast or a show that we ended like 3 years ago, and we're sitting there. You know, now they just do one more piece, and you know the perfect one would be. And we both just say Bridges at the same time. And we start laughing. Like, this is the guy we wanted. Like, I still remember that. I still remember that episode. So I love Bridges, but I do think those are a couple things. Just be more consistent from three. That's been too up and down. His shooting form has gotten more consistent. It's still not, I don't think, exactly where he wants it to be yet. But to me, Bridges is still like the least of their worries. And I'm very optimistic. I mean, the fact that Anunoby seems to be practicing already, you know, those foot sprains can be really dangerous. You know, Lisfranc injuries, for those of you that are NFL fans, it's a problem. It doesn't seem like it's that. You get him and Mitch both back after the All-Star break, which I think they would be wise to wait until after the All-Star break to give him some more time to get him ready. I think that'll, of course, help things.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. And yeah, with Bridges, it's the shot making. And I think that is where they do miss DiVincenzo, whether it was starter or the bench, because especially last year, you just had that. Another guy off the bench who you could rely on to get you a shot, knock down the threes, high volume 3-point shooter. Smart
threes
shot.
Off motion, too.
Off motion, right?
Threes, yeah.
Smart shot taker. You know, now you got to settle for like campaign chucks, and it's like he's the perfect cardiac Nick, but it's like, come on, man, I can't handle this every game, man. I'm getting older, man. You know,
dude, campaign drives me nuts, man. Like he's one like he's like the new version of Alonzo Trier, where like you know the shot's going up, you just don't know if it's going in.
Yeah,
and he can save you one game and kill you another. And like Landry Shamet, has he made a jump shot since he came back?
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen
like
it.
His
man.
defense has been good. He's been active. He cuts. He runs around. He tries hard, but he cannot make a damn shot. Like that's a problem.
Right.
And then I laugh. And look, I know he had a good game the other night. Fans think like Ty Warren's going to come in here and like save the day in like 4 weeks up from the G League. And like, I don't think that's your savior walking in the door either. So, look, we knew this was going to be tough. They trade away a lot of their depth. You have an opportunity to add some more depth, I think, in the offseason. You can adjust the roster a little bit easier once you get through this season. You're not up against the second apron, all those rules that fans know about. So I think you got to be a little bit patient here and deal with the deficits and issues you have and just try to make the most of it. And maybe you get lucky in the second round and you make a run and you get to the Eastern Conference Finals.
The CBA screwed him, man. It screwed him in so many ways, left, right, and center, man. From the iHeart thing to being hard capped at the second apron. So now they have to wait till the end of the month when the prorated vet minimum goes below 540 because they're at exactly 533, which, you know, tip your cap to Brock Aller for just doing the math and just putting them in a position to be able to afford somebody. And then you got the Celtics, who are way over the second apron, paying way over in luxury tax, and just, let's go get Torrey Craig.
And by the way, the other rule is that you can't even sign a guy in the buyout market that made a salary of over $12 million. So you got that restriction on him too.
Can't. You know, and then Boston, Torrey Craig? Okay, come on over. Like, come on, man. Come on. This thing is not adding up. We need to restart. Who's the president, the Players Association? Chris Paul? We need a redo, man. We've got to look at this thing, man.
I will just say this. Still the 3 seed. Still playing good basketball. I mean, for my money right now, what are the Knicks, you think, the 4th or 5th best team in the NBA right now?
Yeah. Easily.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, just think about where we were 5 years ago.
For sure. Yeah. Like that is the perspective that I like to keep, like, when days pass after they get washed like they did on Saturday. Like, I'm there now on a Monday, you know. But Saturday night, Sunday, I'm like, oh my God, man, we're just not even close, man.
Dude, I almost woke my kids up upstairs yelling at the TV. So trust me, I get it, man.
And then Pritchard, he's shooting from half court, 25 off the bench for Pritchard. They had 5 guys in double figures. The former Knick, Luke Cornett, the Unicornet, as I used to call him when he was here during the dysfunction. I like that he's found his way there with Boston, man. I do like that. He's kind of rebounded his career, man.
And look, you hope in 3 years, the Knicks' Peyton Pritchard will be Tyler Kolek and Pacome Dadier, right? It's just
takes time.
Hard for rookies to help. But, you know, I think if you're a team that's going to be up against the apron, the luxury tax, and all that stuff, you need your late-round picks to work. And I do think we've seen promise from all 3 Knicks rookies this year. Now, are they ready? Are they going to help them now? No, because NBA rookies are generally not good players. You know that. I know that. Anyone with a brain knows that. But don't you feel pretty good in 2 or 3 years that all 3 of those guys are going to be useful parts of the Knicks rotation? I feel pretty good.
Kolek definitely, Dadier for sure. Huckporty, we'll see. But Dadier is going to be important because their wing depth is going to be key in this window that they have. Kolek to kind of supplant Payne eventually and have just a steady playmaker from that backup point guard spot. Even McBride, man, I still consider McBride. He's still a young player. He's got to get his shooting efficiency back consistent and his defense. He's the most important player off the bench right now and going forward this year.
Do you know what Dadier's injury is exactly?
A toe. I think it's a toe injury.
Toe?
Right. I think it's a toe injury.
Do they have a timetable on him at all? I haven't heard anything on that.
No. I did ask Ian Begley. He didn't mention it, but he's missed Westchester games as well. So, no telling when he comes back. But as Tom Thibodeau mentioned today, both Mitchell Robinson and OG Anunoby did, quote-unquote, some things in practice. But either way, man, I've been saying since last week, wait. As long as we can wait, just push it till after the All-Star break. Give them time, as much time as they need to get back and get up to speed, man.
By the way, the Pacers are coming up. They're a really good team, and they're playing really good basketball after their really slow start. So that's going to be a really, really good challenge. And, we'll see if Towns can go with the knee.
Yeah.
They had, a couple days off at least to give him a little bit of rest. But that's not going to be an easy game. And if the Knicks ever lost that, the fans are going to be trying to break it into your fan cave with pitchforks and torches.
Yeah. But honestly, I would even rest him too through the All-Star break. I would even tell him, don't even worry about San Francisco, man. They're not even going to be playing hard anyway. Don't even waste your time. stay home, take the weeks off, because with that right knee, it's only February. You still got 2 more months left to go. I think they need to be careful, man. He looked He looked like Patrick Ewing in, like, year number 15 here with the multiple ice packs. That didn't look good on Saturday night, man. He was a statue out there.
I'm with you. How many games do they have left before the All-Star break, CP?
Two. They have Hawks, Pacers, and Hawks.
I mean,
is it Hawks? I think it's Hawks.
I'd like to beat both those teams. I know the Hawks have kind of jettisoned a lot of their guys by the trade deadline, but look, I'm with you. If
Pacers
they
and
think
Hawks.
giving them that extra week and then having almost like, whatever would be like 12 or 13 days consecutive off would help him that much.
Yeah.
Just give him the time. Give him the time.
I would rest him, man. I hate the Pacers. I want to beat the Pacers every game. I would punt because he just looked pretty terrible on Saturday. So let's see how it goes. They have the back-to-back tomorrow against the Pacers, and then back-to-back against the Hawks. That Hawks game is going to be a home game, and they are in Indiana tomorrow. Salute to everybody in the chat once again. Hit the like button, hit the share button, and subscribe to the channel. CP the Franchise, John Smelk on the ones and twos. Shout out to everybody at this 5:30 rather. If you guys are on the grind, go ahead and throw a hashtag grind in the chat on this Monday, Super Bowl Monday, man. Everybody says this should be a holiday, man. What do you think?
I think whenever they get the 18th game schedule, right, and then they add the bye week, it's going to go into President's Day. So just give it a couple years. They'll get there.
Yeah. Saquon got it. He got it done, man. He got it done from the outhouse to the penthouse. What'd you think of the game yesterday?
And I'm happy for him. Look, Saquon's a good dude.
I am.
I was around him for like 6 years.
Yeah.
And I have a unique opinion on the whole Saquon thing with the Giants. I think the Giants did the right thing for letting him go. I don't think where the Giants are as a franchise, you should pay a running back. I think the Eagles did the exact right thing by paying him and bringing him on. And I think Saquon made the right decision too. A running back needs a really good offensive line and a quarterback to be a good player. And that's what the Eagles gave him. So I'm happy for him individually. I could not bring myself to root for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Me neither.
Because, sorry. I was all about the Chiefs on Sunday night.
Me too.
But as an individual, I'm happy for Saquon. He's a good dude. But come on. I mean, I did not want the Eagles to win.
No.
Going in, it's funny. I told people, I'm like, there's no way Steve Spagnuolo is going to let Saquon Barkley beat him. And I don't think Jalen Hurts will be able to beat him. I got half of that right.
Yeah.
They did not let Saquon Barkley beat him. But look, Jalen, give him credit, man. Jalen Hurts played really well, accurate. But the story of the game, CP, and it's the old story in the NFL. If you win the game in the trenches, you're going to win the football game. And the Chiefs could not block the Eagles' defensive line. And it was the same deal when the Chiefs had all those offensive line injuries a couple years ago against the Rams, and they could not block Aaron Donald and the Rams' pass rush. Same deal. They could not block the Eagles' pass rush, and their offense was disjointed the whole game. 2 turnovers, one pick six. That'll do it.
Yeah.
That's the ball game.
I mean, the final boss, he looked, it just seemed like after a while his timing was so disrupted that he's just letting him go, because the 4-man rush.
We've seen this.
Yeah.
We've been following the Giants. We know what a quarterback looks like when he has no faith in an offensive line.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like.
We've
seen it here for a long time. That's what it looks like.
4-man rush, man. And then the final pick, I mean, it gets a 2 hands straight to the helmet. And that was like insult to injury because he lost the ball first, then catches the hands to the face. And I said that was all you needed to know about this game, man. But yeah, what wasn't the case for the three-peat for the Chiefs. And, you see all these things about legacy from Mahomes. I'm like, knock it off, man. There's a guy at 4 rings already. I mean, we're talking legacy talk.
Before the age of 30. Yeah. What do people say? That's just stupid.
Yeah,
that's stupid.
That's just forced sports talk. But no, give the Eagles credit. Building that defensive line, Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith, all these guys, and the secondary looked good with Slay. Hey, they built it right, man. I was jealous as a Giants fan because, as you said, watching that just made me miss how the Giants used to build it in the trenches, man. Need that back.
And look, and honestly, CP, and I think even though Giant fans are frustrated, they saw Saquon walk out the door, they saw Xavier McKinney walk out the door. Well, the reason they let those guys walk was so they would spend money in the trenches. All that money got used on Brian Burns, John Runyon, Jermaine Illuminor. So Joe Shane understands that. The reason he decided not to pay a safety and a running back is so you could spend money in the trenches because that's what eventually will win for you. Now, Are the Giants there yet? Is the roster complete? Do they have a ton of work to do? Absolutely 100%. But they understand that winning in the trenches is where you win football games. Now, you also need a quarterback, which is the other most important thing you need, and really the most important thing you need. So, obviously, that's going to be a huge part of this offseason to see where the Giants go there. But finding the right one, whether it's a vet or a young guy in the draft, and I think it could be one or the other. It could be both. It's not going to be neither. It's going to be one or the other or both. Look, that's going to be the determination of whether or not it was a successful offseason.
Who's your favorite at the moment between Shedeur and Cam?
I'm a Cam Ward guy.
Me too.
I see more potential for superstar level play from Cam Ward. I think he's a little bit more physically gifted. I think he has more arm talent than Shedeur does. I think Shedeur probably has a higher floor. I think he's probably more accurate. He's probably a little bit better at reading defenses, things like that. But I think Cam Ward has some special traits to him that if he can figure out some of the fundamental stuff like decision-making, footwork, things like that, I see a path for him to become a really, really good NFL quarterback. I see Shedeur as more of, and again, I've not finished my study on these guys, so my mind can change. I'm doing about 6 games of both. I see Shedeur as someone that I feel good is going to be a good NFL quarterback. I'm not sure I see the path for him to be an elite NFL quarterback from what I've seen so far.
You cover the Senior Bowl, cover the Shrine Game. Very busy couple of weeks for you. Any standouts when you left that? Like, man, he's a guy who would be great on the Giants if they can get their hands on him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you can have any of the top 10 picks at either one of those 2 games. Yeah. So I think, just talking big picture, Giants at 3. I think you're looking at either one of the 2 quarterbacks, and I think there's a real chance the Titans look to trade down at a 1. That was kind of the buzz down there, talking to people. I have no idea what the Browns are going to do. Now you got the Myles Garrett thing hanging over their head. I don't think they know what they're going to do yet. So I think that's a huge question. I mean, is it possible that those 2 teams stick and don't pick quarterbacks? Yeah. Is it a chance that they both pick quarterbacks? Yeah. So I think you look at 4 players for the Giants at 3. You're looking at the 2 quarterbacks, which I think, fine. You're looking at Abdul Carter from Penn State, the big pass rusher. I think he's going to be a really good pass rusher, good player. And then I think the 4th guy is Travis Hunter, right? Whether he's a corner or a receiver or a little bit of both, however they want to handle that, I think he does have very, very strong traits at both positions. So those to me are the 4 guys that Giant fans should be thinking about at 3. And then top of the second round, it's a very deep defensive tackle draft. There was, there was a bunch of guys at the Senior Bowl and Shrine Bowl that I think you have Sanders down there, a bunch of guys that would qualify in that area, defensive tackle or corner. I think those are the 2 main needs. Defensive tackle and corner on defense, get a guy next to Dexter Lawrence, get a cornerback there. Now, I would rather get a veteran corner because I think they're very young at the position already. I'd rather bring a veteran corner in to help that group, I think, personally. But that's a position you look at, and then you can always strengthen the offensive line, man. Like, you never stop fixing, you never stop building on the offensive line. Those are the areas that I would pay attention to if I'm a Giant fan. In free agency, which is not a great free agent class, and the draft, which is not as good at the top as it was last year. But there is a lot of depth. So the Giants have to take advantage of every opportunity they have to make the roster better if they want to be more competitive next year.
NFL Draft, April 24th through the 26th. We'll definitely have to have you come back on either before or afterwards and recap everything. Final question.
Now, last year, CP, the problem is that Knicks played a playoff game. Was it the Saturday of the draft or Friday night of the draft? I forget which one.
I think it was Saturday.
Me, I had both TVs on. Let me be clear.
Final question. They insulted my guy Eli with not putting him in on the first ballot, man. Your thoughts? I didn't like that, man. I didn't like that.
I think Eli's a Hall of Famer. I had talked to a half dozen Hall of Fame voters before the vote. I kind of saw it coming, to be honest with you. Everyone told me that was going to be a very divisive subject in that room, and there were people that were pretty adamant about not putting him in. And I don't even know if it's going to happen next year, CP. Because Breeze is now eligible, and then you're going to have Roethlisberger and Rivers come. So it might be a little while based on the people. Bob Glauber and Gary Myers on. They're 2 Hall of Fame voters. Glauber is the one that presented Eli in the meeting. And we did a Giants Huddle podcast on last Friday. It's up there right now. We did an hour talking about the vote and how it went down and the challenges ahead. For those of you that are Giant fans, I told them I was going to go half an hour with them. It was so good, we just kept going. It was fantastic. So I encourage Giant fans to listen to that to understand what the climate is in regards to Eli getting into the Hall. But look, I understand the criticisms in terms of the lack of a dominant regular season resume. I understand those arguments. but I just think the longevity, the ability to stay healthy, the playoff runs,
man.
And I think the problem too, like the reasons he was never an All-Pro, the reasons he didn't have a ton of Pro Bowls, he played in an era of Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre, Phillip Rivers, Ben Roethlisberger, Drew Brees. I mean, he played in one of the best quarterback eras we've ever seen.
Yeah.
So that I think is something that people hold against him, but maybe shouldn't hold against him as much as they do. But I think I don't think it's gonna be like Harry Carson level of patience, where it was like 18 years or something crazy like that. But I think Giant fans are gonna have to be a little bit patient. I hope I'm wrong, because I do think he deserves to get in. I want him to get in, but I think Giant fans might have to be a little patient here.
Very interesting, man. Good perspective by you. What else can we look forward to on Giants.com, man? What other content do you have coming up on the pipeline?
Yeah, I mentioned Giants Huddle Podcast. We have Big Blue Kickoff Live, our daily show every day at 12:30, taking calls from fans and talking Giants football. And then Draft Season, our draft podcast. And if you're not a Giant fan, folks, this is not a Giants podcast. Draft Season is a draft podcast. Tony Pauline and I just do draft. We just did his top 10s at every position. That's coming out either today or tomorrow. We're doing a mock draft with him next week. So if you like draft, go to Draft Season. Again, just search for him on your podcast platform. Giants.com, Giants app. It's all there.
There it is, man. John, appreciate the time. Enjoy the rest of the evening. We'll catch up soon, man. Always appreciate you, man.
Absolutely, and then I'll be in Indy for the Combine in a few weeks. I'll see if I can stop by the field house down there and put some Ben Juju on the Pacers, right?
Vibes on there. Absolutely, man. Appreciate it, man.
Thanks, CP.
All right. That was our guy, John Smelk. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you guys check him out, man. Does excellent work covering our football Giants and the NFL draft over on Giants.com as well as WFAN, man. So definitely appreciate John. Let me just throw that over here. Balance my camera out a little bit. Yeah, that's my guy, man. We got to get the Giants back in order, man. You know, I'm watching this Saquon stuff. Now they're talking about dynasties. Of course, you know, they want to just automatically just bump it up. Are they going to be a dynasty? Are they going to be the greatest ever? I can't take that, man. You know, I called Tiki on WFAN the other day. I said the house rule will rise again. I believe it. We just got to get there, man. We got to get there, Giants fans. So, you know, keep the faith. I definitely do. I keep the faith with my team. And that's just it, man. Instagram, Bleacher Report, Facebook, Twitter, X. How we feeling in the chat? Man, that was tough to watch. But, you know, as I said, at least, you know, the pain of watching the Eagles win another Super Bowl, they got it over with early. So that by halftime, I was like, you know what? This is over with. Get to the Kendrick show so I can wrap up and get to bed. You know what I mean? How was everybody's Super Bowl at home, man? What'd you guys do for the Super Bowl? Did anybody cook for the Super Bowl? I definitely whipped up a dish, cooked my world-famous franchise mac and cheese. Yeah, the franchise mac and cheese was hitting today. Had a little leftovers for lunch. Moms came through, made some, you know what I mean, some sweet and sour chicken, some oxtail. We had it all. You know, the spread was lovely. So I hope you guys enjoyed the Super Bowl and the festivities. Halftime show. JJ in the chat said, what I think about the Kendrick show. I thought it was cool. You know, I thought it was cool. I'm not one to, you know, you get these people that are like just super critical, a halftime show, super analytical. I'm not like that, man. You know, it's a show. 90% of performers can't do these things live very, very well. It's very difficult. There's only but so many people who are like tremendous performers and equally as good as you hear them in a full production studio. It's not easy. Ben Stiller on Twitter said this is the greatest halftime performance of all time. No. That I won't say. No. Greatest of all time was Michael Jackson. Absolutely. That is a performer. Let's not disrespect him. But I thought Kendrick was cool. I thought it was good. You know, you had Samuel L. come out, the Uncle Sam stuff, you know. And the thing is, like, with Kendrick, you got to get the cliff notes afterwards. And what do you mean? What did this mean? What did that mean? You know, I'm a little too old to be deciphering meanings and all that. But from what I saw, I thought it was cool. I thought the performance was cool. I thought his stamina, you know, in terms of getting his bars off and doing his moves, I thought it was good. It was what it was. Like, I don't you know, watch the Super Bowl to, you know, be entertained by the halftime show. Like, I don't really, you know, half the time I'm making moves anyway. Prince, classic. You know what I mean? Like Prince, MJ. Those are classic performance. Yeah. Yeah, it was nothing crazy. You got these people that want to, like, you know, break it down like it was Shakespeare. Like, I didn't see that either. I thought Serena was looking a little crazy, though. I'm not gonna lie. I don't really like knocking people or criticizing people. I'm like, yo, man, like, aren't you a little old to be doing this? You know, but that's just me. That's just me. You know. But either way, it was cool. I didn't think it was crazy. I didn't think it was terrible. I didn't think it was just the best thing ever, like people want to hype things up to be. But whatever you're into, man. You know, no shade to anybody, man. Knicks taking on the Pacers tomorrow. We're working on a game of the week preview. We're trying to round up some guests. We had some guests cancel on us last minute, so we're trying to get that going for tonight. But if not, hey, we'll be back for play-by-play live, and we will be back for post-game live. So make sure you guys tap in with the number one show for the fans, by the fans. Absolutely. Salute to everybody in the chat once again. Let me shout out some of our sponsors, pay some bills real quick. For one, man, hey, they're saying that these Knicks tickets, especially at MSG, on average, is going to cost you about $144 just to get into the building. So, in that case, man, we got you covered with our friends at SeatGeek, man. Use our code KFTV10 for 10% off your order. That's up to $20 off. Hey, that's a little savings. Could go a long way. Get you a little extra drink. You know, go get you a glizzy if you're into that. Hey, that's not my thing. But, hey, whatever you want. When you go on SeatGeek, when you go on the app, look for the green dots. The green dots are the good deals. Good to great to amazing deals. The red dots, not a good deal. Not a good deal. So, you know, that's what you want to do when you go on the SeatGeek app. 10% off. It's a good savings. Hey, you're not getting that on any other app. And sometimes, you know, it's pricey, man. It's pricey. So we're trying to save you a couple of ducats here and there. Also, salute to our friends at Mando Whole Body Deodorant, fellas. Hey, Valentine's Day is coming up. And before you guys go out there on those dates, fellas, make sure you're not out there lacking, man. Make sure your underarms are coming correct. And that is with our guys at Mando Whole Body Deodorant. Use our code KFTV for $5 off the starter pack. 72 hours of odor control. 72 hours of odor control and aluminum free. So they have nice quality products and it'll hold you down for quite some time. So make sure you go to shopmando.com. Use our code KFTV for $5 off the starter pack. Okay. All right, let's see what else. Oh, KG said Mike Jack's show was whack. Nah, you're bugging. You're just hating, sir. No. Mike Jackson's performance was not whack. It was great. The LA one was good. I thought the LA one with Dr. Dre and M50, I thought that was a good one. That was definitely a good one. I enjoyed that show for sure. The LA show was good. Yeah. The pre-show I thought was good. You know, a little New Orleans vibe. I like how they integrated the HBCUs. I went to an HBCU. They had Southern out there with the Southern band. I thought that was good with the dances and whatnot. They brought out Master P. They didn't even introduce him. They just like wedged Master P in the program. Like, P, just walk out onto the field. That was somebody's like last minute decision. Like they could have just they should have brought out the No Limit Tank. Bring out the No Limit Tank with Mystical in them. Well, no, not Mystical. I think he's jammed up. Nah, forget him. Bring out Master P in the tank. You know? Weezy said he's not messing with it. He was insulted. They insulted Weezy by not putting him on the program. Weezy said he's not coming through. So they said, P, just walk out there with the band. You New Orleans. Where's P from? He from Calio Projects and Cash Money from Magnolia? And he said, P, just walk out there. Well, I thought that was cool that they brought out Harry Connick Jr. and all of that. That's nice. I'm a big live music fan. So I did like the live music that they had in the beginning. You bring in Southern. That was a nice touch. You got to bring out the marching band and bring that cultural aspect that the HBCUs bring from the marching band's perspective. That was a nice touch. It's Black History Month. You know, we're going to put some respect on our name. What else did they do that was cool? Obviously, the tribute to the people that were lost in the heinous act of violence and down in Bourbon Street, man. I was very saddened by that, man. Still am. Just unbelievable. Having been out there and enjoying the city, enjoying the food, and that's what those people were doing. So it's truly tragic that their lives were cut short in that way. So I thought the tribute to them was nice. That was nice as well. So yeah, overall that was cool. Game was trash. And that was that, man. We back to it. Moving on. But yeah, well, you got the All-Star game next. It's big, the next big event. I think Town should be sitting this one out. I just think he should be sitting this one out. Game loss is lost anyway. Don't mean nothing. And your knees, you got Patrick Ewing knees right now. We're only in February, fan. We got to do whatever we got to do to make sure that you're playing a little bit of defense. But anyway, man, I'm out of here. That's enough for me. Hopefully you guys have a great night. Remember that the show's available in audio podcast format. No reason to miss it. And also, shout out to the replay gang, man. Shout out to John Schmelk for coming through. Let me make sure I didn't miss Eddie super chat. Shout out to Apostle in the making, says love Tibbs. But I don't think he will bring us a championship. We can't rely on Mitch as a savior. Eastern Conference Finals is our ceiling this year. All right, well, you know, the fans call me out. Hey, you too easy on Tibbs. What is the alternative? Who do you want? That's all I ask. Who do you want as a replacement? Brandon the Trash Man, salute. Yeah, Eli got snubbed, man. I did not like that, man. Louis Matthews says, CP, I wanted Philly to win because Kansas City won enough rings. What you have against Philly? What do I have against Philly? They are division rivals. I'm a Giants fan, man. Giants fan. I don't rock Philly nothing. No Eagles, no Sixers, no Flyers, no Phillies, no none of that. Nothing. They cost me too much heartache and pain as a kid. From McNabb to Deshaun Jackson, all of that. No. And then I got friends that's Philly fans from New York, man. I can't stand that, man. They trash talk me. I don't like that, man. So I root against him. But I was rooting for Saquon Barkley. He deserved that. And I agree with John that, like, you know, this was the best situation for him. He wasn't doing this here with the Giants. So when people are like, how could the Giants let him go? What was he? He wasn't going to do that here. He was never going to do that here. The Giants' O-line was in shambles. They never put a good team around him. And that's why it's hard to invest in a running back, to draft and invest in a running back. Get him in. Hey, look, it's hard. He rated him a generational talent. It's hard to pass up. Gave the Giants a lot of great memories, but never put a quality squad around him. So that's what happens. The next team benefits. Congratulations to him. Well deserved, man. He deserved to go out a winner. Yeah, man. All right, man. I'm out of here. Congratulations, though, to everybody. Hey, if you are an Eagles fan, it's your time. Congratulations to you. No hate on that. I'm out of here. Peace.